You can read all the revelations there inside the Citizen this morning. All right, let me show you also what we have on the front page of the East African. Uhuru on foray in Uganda as Ruto Museveni gravitated apart. The former president caused a buzz after he rode in Uganda Airlines flight with VP Alupo to Kinshasa and was later hosted by the veteran leader at State House. And Kenya's retired President Uhuru Kenyatta and at Njinjili International Airport, Kinshasa, after arriving on a Ugandan Airlines flight ahead of the inauguration ceremony of President Felix Antoine Tshisekedi on January the 20th. All right, that is what we have on the front page of East African. Two fruitful ties. President Samia Suluhu Hassan can be seen planting a tree in Jakarta with our host, President Joko Widodo, during her visit to Indonesia. She signed several memorandum of cooperation with the Asian nation on gas, agriculture, pharmaceuticals, and trade. U.S. pushes Kenya to back Houthis' offensive, while Horn neighbors maintain neutral stance. Nairobi is one of the two African capitals drawn into the Red Sea crisis. And you can follow the story on page 12 of the Standard of East African this week magazine segment of East African. TB Joshua and why Africans are fond of Pentecostalism. You can read all about it inside the East African this week. All right, time to unveil our guests who are already here. Before we buckle down to some stories, just to hear what is happening within the counties. We have the county of Kitui Central represented this morning. Also, we do have the county of Seme. We have the county also of Tana River and Kitui Central. Did I mention Kitui Central? It's tipping off my tongue so many times. Yeah, seems there is some good luck from Kitui Central this morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Dima.
How are you?
We are fine.
Thank you for joining us. Right, and also it's good to see you, Hilary Segei, after a long while. Welcome back. Happy New Year.
Good morning and Happy New Year as well.
Yes.
Happy to see my senior colleagues as well on the show.
Yes.
Be back, and I hope it's going to be a better year.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I thank you so much also for joining us, because we know there was a loss of your father, and also we saw the burial. We also send our condolences here on the show. We're glad to have you back, to see you even through that particular very tumultuous time that you went through.
Sure.
Right. Seme, how is Seme?
Seme is fine.
Yes.
Yes.
So what's new in Seme?
Well, just the prices of things are still bothering us, but otherwise we are managing. We have good rains, so we hope that we may get good crops, but they've come a little early. That is the only problem. Otherwise, some kids are trying to get to school. Many cannot afford school fees. Even the bursary is not enough. Well, I think this is happening everywhere across the country. But otherwise, Seme is fine.
Seme is fine.
Yes.
Well, it seems also the prices of mangoes, I thought maybe now, since this is the season, it will go down.
They should drop.
I'm shocked still it's selling at around 35, 30. Yeah. What is happening? Kitui, there's no mangoes.
No, Kitui, by the way, we have a lot of mangoes. This time, I think as you've said many times, Dibao, God has been very gracious to us, the southeastern part of this country. We've got a lot of rains. There's a lot of now food in the farms. And also, mango is part of the crops we grow in that region. So we also have mangoes, both what we call the traditional ones and the ones which are now the grafted ones. So our people are really thanking God for what has happened. But all said and done, I think the issue be raised by Dr. Nikal, the issue of school fees.
Yes.
Is now what is really harassing our parents all over the place. Last week I had a chance to go around my constituency. I was commissioning projects. And I can tell you for sure, anywhere, wherever I went, you would find people coming up and saying, I've not been able to report to school. You try to find out, really, it's just the hard economic times is what is causing all these problems. But we're happy to see our friend Senator Sigei back. We've missed him in action. We know what has been happening. I know he must be now a bit, losing our dad is not easy. So we really appreciate when we see him back. It's a sign that now he's getting back to normal life. But so all said and done, and many things will happen and you also remember the dad. I wish my dad was here, 1, 2, 3 would be happening. But that's life, we accept. So, Diba, all the best.
Right, indeed. So you're talking about school fees, and we can see a bursary scandals. You have received 10 billion shillings as a member of parliament. First of all, has it checked in the CDF money amid questions about the criteria for allocating education bursaries, with many poor students who posted impressive scores in the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examination unable to join Form 1 after missing out on scholarships?
Normally, you know what happened is they did announce that the money was released, and actually the money go to their accounts.
Right. I don't know. Maybe we need to sort out your mic. There's some rattling there. I don't
There's
know.
some
Just leave it. We can hear from Dr. Nikala as we sort it out.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there's some crackling sound from there.
Well, it has come, at least in my constituency, at 30 million has come, and it's addressing both the bursary and also the administration of the committee, CDF, National Government CDF committee and the team. But basically, this is not enough. In my constituency, what we had worked out is that we need about 47 million out of the expected about 130 million. That even then, you will not be able to cover all the students. I think what has happened in this country, I think people have gotten increasingly poorer. So there are a lot of things that parents before would take up. More and more parents are not able to actually take up parental responsibilities like education because they can't afford it. And because of that, there's a big scramble for children. And children are doing well. In my constituency, we say that if they're above 350 marks, then we will give them a scholarship, which means that we'll pay for them throughout their school, the 4 years. But then you find you can't even get enough of that because a lot of kids are passing. And then the number that you are going to give just ordinary bursaries is also large. So we have a problem. Actually, in my view, there are 3 things, maybe let me say 2 things, that if we could, would actually be free. If we could get free healthcare, as we are trying, and free education, I think that's one of the things we should strive for in the future.
All right, we'll just come back to that particular story to discuss it. Now, let's just put tails on where the president is right now, where we know that on Sunday he jetted out to Rome, Italy, to participate in the Italy-Africa Summit. In a statement shared by State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed, Ruto will be attending the summit in his capacity as the chair of the Committee of African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change. As KTN's political affairs reporter Emmanuel Tonari details, this is President William Ruto's 48th foreign trips since taking over as president.
Sunday morning, and President William Ruto is seen off by his top government officials, led by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. This time round, the head of state is headed to Rome, Italy, for the Italy-Africa Summit, which will take place this week. According to State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed, President Ruto will also deliver a keynote address in his capacity as the chair of the Committee of African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change. The event, dubbed a Bridge for Common Growth, will bring together 20 heads of state to discuss crucial areas of collaboration, including food security, culture, education, vocational training, energy, security, among others. Ruto is also set to hold discussions with President Sergio Mattarella to foster bilateral cooperation and also meet the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. The meeting comes 10 months after the Italian president visited Kenya. The visit to Italy makes it 3, the number of trips President Ruto has made just this year, following others made to Uganda on the 18th of this month to attend the 42nd IGAD Extraordinary Summit and Non-Allied Movement Summit. After the Kampala meeting, the president then made a detour to Kinshasa, DRC, for the swearing-in ceremony of President Felix Tshisekedi. The current trip is the president's 48th in just 16 months in office, or an average of 3 trips per month. This is the highest traveled by a sitting head of state in Kenya. But the president has defended his visits as bringing goodies to Kenyans.
Kwa muda wa mwaka moja nimetembea nchi nyingi kutafuta vile tunaweza kusukuma maendeleo ya Kenya. Na nimepanga marafiki wengi. Tuko na marafiki sasa wa World Bank, tuko na wa IMF, tuko na wa Marekani, tuko na wa China, tuko na wale wengine wote.
Emmanuel To, KTN News, Nairobi.
Now the tension between the government and the judicial department has continued to escalate after some of the Kenya Kwanza members of parliament threatened to reduce the budget of the judicial department. However, they have assured Kenyans that the government will deliver development without discrimination.
Speaking in Nyakach area, Kisumu County, at St. Cecilia Kusa Catholic Church, Ogutu Member of Parliament Ruben Kiborek, accompanied by Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro, who is the budget chairman, said the court has curtailed the efforts to implement the government's promises and agenda.
Rais wetu anatuambia hata tukiwa budget committee, in the allocation of our resources, we do not look at where people voted. We look at Kenyans as one compact country because all Kenyans pay taxes. Na kwa hivyo mkiwa hapa mjue ya kwamba serikali yetu tukiongozwa na president wetu His Excellency William Ruto.
Mogotio MP Ruben Kiborek warned that they are not far from reducing the court's budget in the next financial year if the standoff continues.
Hiyo budget yao wakikataa kutii na kusikiza maneno, hii mwezi wa pili tunaenda the circle ya budget making, na tuko na nguvu tulipewa pia kikatiba ya kugawa pesa ya Kenya, na chairman yetu hapa tunyonge hiyo budget yao yote, wakuwa wanaomba maji na kutembea na miguu.
However, Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro avoided responding to the issue, but instead assured Kenyans that the government of Kenya will first deliver development without discrimination or preferences regarding the voters.
Kama ni ugawaji wa pesa ya budget, vile tunagawa ya kaunti zingine zote, ndio tunagawa katika kaunti zile zingine zote. Pesa tunagawia all the 47 counties. We look at Kenyans as all deserving Kenyans.
Meanwhile, Senate Majority Leader Aaron Cheruyot, MP Joseph Cherorot, and Woman Representative Beatrice Kemei have asked the judiciary to consider the welfare of Kenyans in their decisions. They also emphasize the importance of considering legal decisions and citizens' opinions, mentioning that this is the only way to develop and improve the country's economy.
Parliament is just a place to stamp what the president has said. It is not like that. We debate, and whatever we see is right and is giving services to our people. That is what we pass as a bill.
Separately, Kericho Woman Representative Beatrice Kemei has provided a lifeline to 21 teenage mothers who had previously dropped out of high school due to various reasons, such as giving birth or getting married. Kemei has promised to provide the best ways for these mothers so that they can stand for themselves and have a better life.
Many of our people will support and will actually benefit from the same. So when it comes back to Parliament, we will amend and we ask the courts to look at it keenly, and this is going to support our people.
Elsewhere, opposition leaders have given the Kenya Kwanza government an ultimatum to return the funds that were deducted from the housing levy, saying the government had subjected Kenyans to illegal deductions during the period when the case was in court. Speaking in Siaya County during a fund drive at St. Michael ACK Church, Uriri, Siaya, Governor James Orengo and Safina Party leader Jimmy Wanjigi, alongside other opposition legislators, called for a speedy investigation into the deductions days after the Court of Appeal ruled the housing levy unconstitutional.
When those who voted for Kenya Kwanza thought Kenya Kwanza was the answer, they have discovered that Kenya Kwanza is a disaster. Life is becoming difficult every day. School fees and many other things that, we should be having a tax relief, we're having a tax burden. So the choice for Kenyans is to stand firm.
The one he has collected is unconstitutional. Return it to the people of Kenya. And if you do not return it, you have decided you are causing more pain. You have decided you are against the constitution of this land. You have decided to be a thief, contrary to your oath. And we are going to ask the people of Kenya this question. Mutaendelea na hii mtu ama mutaendelea na yeye?
We are also asking the president to listen and to obey the constitution. Yes. He must obey the constitution. If the judiciary have decided on an issue, he should not interfere. Let the judiciary be as independent as possible, and he should not be seen to be interfering with that, because that is bad leadership.
All right, ceasefire. As you can see there, we're trying to extinguish the fire in Mount Kenya. As I say, there is fire on the mountain, and nobody seems to be on the run. There is fire on the mountaintop, and no one is running. If you know some of those songs there, you can actually relate. And the housing levy, Haiti deployment, and SHIF. Could the Jubilee, not the Jubilee administration, but the Kenya Kwanza administration be also wrong as far as some of these policies are concerned? The housing levy, you can see right now, it has been declared unconstitutional. Haiti deployments as well, that has been quashed by the courts. SHIF, well, it seems now we shall be paying this as well, but after the court made its ruling. So those are the questions, and you can see the judiciary or member judicial officers walking away there with this particular train and the railway there. So they cannot move. Housing levy, Haiti deployment, it has been given a stoppage there, so to speak. And Zakayo seems to be coming down. This is the 3% housing levy. As you can see, Zakayo on top of a tree there with the housing levy. So the question is, what is, will it be returned to sender? Dancer Mungatana, you have not spoken. Return to sender. Good morning. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So let's just begin from there. We'll be discussing, but return to sender. Hilary Segei.
I was trying to understand this last cartoon. The housing levy coming down. That's obviously because of the ruling of the court. But Debal, allow me, before I comment about this, to appreciate once again for coming in the new year.
Yes.
I want to appreciate the colleagues, the National Assembly and the Senate, who came in to support us as a family in the last 2 weeks when we were bereaved. I'd like to say that it's a reason why we are able to have a conversation and speak. It wasn't an easy period for us. And on behalf of the rest of us, I want to laud the colleagues who are here with us this morning, you, the media, for the support that they gave us. And we are, I would say, got to move on in life. Respect our dad, and my appreciation goes to everyone who gave us a shoulder to lean on. My appreciation goes out to everyone who condoled with us and who prayed with us during that moment. May God bless you all, because you stood with us when we really needed you to stand with us. That aside, then the cartoon. We started a very good note earlier on when we spoke about the schools reopening and the high transition, which by the way...
You think we should shelve this particular discussion? Let's start with the school first. Then we come to the housing levy.
Yes, I wanted to say that, it's normally good to start with a very positive conversation.
Indeed.
Because it will transition into an objective conversation, even with the negatives. Though these are not negatives, because for me, Jibal, I'm a practitioner in the corridors of justice. I'm a practicing lawyer. And so every other time when you go to court, it is not a guarantee that you must succeed or you win a case.
Right.
It is win or lose. There must be a winner, there must be a loser. In this case...
And I think we should just shelve it for a while so that we can clear the issue of bursary.
Okay, perfect.
I think that bursary issue and why some of the students have not really shown up, that eye-popping figure of 133,000, it's a huge number that we should look at. Is also the management of bursary up to scratch as you legislators are concerned? And what is the criteria that some of the students who maybe have qualified, what criteria or metrics are you using to actually disburse this particular bursaries?
Then allow me
we can begin from there.
Yes, allow me then, Dibal, to first of all comment the fact that from the statistics that we have received, which I listened to yesterday night, 1.3 million Kenyans or people who sat for KCP have enrolled into Form 1. 1.3 is a good number for starters in terms of enhancing the education level in Kenya. Only 131,000 have not reported, meaning the transition, when you compare 131,000 against 1.3 million, it's a very positive trajectory in terms of the transition from primary school to the secondary school. In future, we are looking forward to having 100% transition. I think from the reporting I saw yesterday, the lowest, which has got the lowest transition is Kajiado County at 67%. That tells you we are actually above 50% transition from primary school to secondary school, which is a very positive position as a country that has over time been struggling to push Kenyans, parents, learners towards at least attaining the basic education. These percentages are something to comment about, and even as we look at now the challenges that a good number of them have leading to their inability to transition to high school is, for instance, including now the delays in the disbursement of the bursaries, and also what Senior Dr. Mikali had said, Kenyans are increasingly, I wouldn't say becoming poor, it is the social media effect, because previously we could have been experiencing this, but there were no opportunities for exposure. But when you look at the extent of the pupils who are seeking support through the social media, it tells you we also have an opportunity to support them purely because of the social media effect, that a number of them are able to reach out and say, please support us. But then again, we are happy that the CDF and the bursaries have now been disbursed, as confirmed by my colleague here, that though it is not sufficient to pay as it is demanded by the number of people who would expect to get support from CDF, at least there is. If I got right, Honorable Carl, if you received 30 million against an anticipated amount of 147 million, right? At least there is over 50% support that will get our pupils to go to transition to the high school, which I must say is a positive connotation on the support the government is giving. And we look forward to having those who have not reported get support so that they also at least get the basic education which will change the lives of their families, their neighbors, and of course Kenya as a member of the global world in future. Thank you.
Right. Dr. Nyikala, I think you were on it as well before we took a short break.
Yeah, just as my colleague has said, my constituency expected over 130 million. We have got 30 million. What we had planned, committee had planned, was 47 million for bursary. So we are still short. And as I was saying, there is an increasingly large number of people who are not able to take their kids to school. That is a matter of concern. I can remember those old days when I went to school. Literally, you didn't find anybody who had qualified staying at home because school fees was affordable. And not only that, a lot of the equipment that were required, books that were required, were actually provided. So I think that as a country, just as we are looking at social health insurance to give us universal health cover, I think we should look at a situation where at least education is free. We've made that attempt when we started free primary education, and increasingly there are levies that are coming. We went to also today secondary, but increasingly levies are coming that are actually nullifying this. And my view is we should move, as we started with free primary, it should have been by now completely free. And when we went to secondary, at least day schools, this by now should have been completely free. But then you have another issue coming when you go to secondary schools now, although we are getting to the last stage of that. But it will just even be the same when we go into full-time transition, that the things that the parents are supposed to buy when they take their kids to school are many and very expensive, and actually there is an element of collusion of schools and the suppliers, so that the children are actually forced to buy these items with their uniform, with their books, where they're looking for just paper right on. They're supposed to buy them within the school as they're paying the school fees. And in almost all cases, you actually find that the prices are higher than in the market. So we need to look very carefully in the area of education. It is an area where we have had ideas that are actually pretty good. Even when you go to university, we came up with the idea of university funding, which again is meeting with a lot of problems at implementation. Maybe we have not planned it. And I think this is common in many things we do. We don't plan things well. Transition from policy to actual implementation seems to be a problem. Even when we look at the junior secondary, again, there we have a lot of problems. So my view, we need to look at education broadly, start with the cost of it, start with the planning of the movement of kids as we change from one system to another. So it's an area that my view, we should help Kenyans to have their kids go to school. Even if you can't do anything else, the kids should go to school.
You did. Right. Let's welcome also Honorable Mungatana. Good morning. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Right. Tana River, how is it?
Tana River is okay.
Yeah. So I can see the National Housing Development Committee was also in your area of public participation.
Yes. Johanna Ngeno.
Johanna Ngeno was there. So this was before the death knell sounded for the housing levy.
There is no death knell.
There's no death knell.
There's no death knell.
It's been declared unconstitutional.
No, it's not been declared unconstitutional. I think
we're heading to there before we get into the debate. Let's just get introductory remarks from you, with also the bursary and all that is happening within Tana River.
Okay. We had the National Housing Committee coming to Tana River County to collect its views. And we gave our view that we fully support the building of those houses. And we explained to them that the amount of work it will create for the people who are in sand harvesting, the people who are in transport, the people who are in selling water, it would create a huge impact. It would inject some good money into our economy. I personally spoke also in that a particular event, and I said that one of the things that we need to agree is that we don't want contractors appointed from Nairobi, from Mombasa, from Kisumu, from Nakuru, all these big counties, coming to take the contracts for building those affordable housing in Tana River County. We want this to be done by our people. We just don't want the menial jobs that will be available when these processes begin. We also asked about the interest rates. We want those interest rates to be reviewed when there are defaults. We talked about a lot of stuff, including the Board of Management. We said the construction of the Board of Management, as it is designed now, it is designed to exclude counties like Tana River County, because you'll find those sitting in the board, PS Treasury, PS housing, you know, people appointed by the Council of Governors, you know, one person. But you'll find a marginalized county like Tana River will not have an opportunity to have its person there. Why? Because the bigger guys will come in and put their person. And when you look at that board that is supposed to manage the housing fund, most of them will be Nairobi-centric. And we want people from outside counties like Tana River. We have a lot of land, you see. So the idea that we must all build high-rise places, we don't need high-rise places. In fact, I remember when we were growing up in Mombasa, here even in Nairobi, you find the houses that were those simple houses that were because land was available, that were constructed for government workers, including Malindi, like Ngala Estate. You'll find it is small houses. But you see, the people who are designing this thing, they are so Nairobi-centric. They all believe there's no land, so they design, let's put up tall buildings. We don't need tall buildings. We have a lot of land. We have also not encroached on government land, like where we want to put the buildings in Tana River is veterinary land. People have not come into government land, so we don't have issues. We can start even tomorrow. And we have been asking that development projects should start from some of our marginalized areas.
Thank you.
So we had a very good, robust engagement. And then somewhere along the line, we were told that an order has been given from the other case, because there were two cases, remember. The first case was to stop the collection of the public public participation.
I wish we hold it a bit so that let's just
but
hold
on the education, can I say something on education?
Yes, but
I wanted to say this
because
education, unless you see, I like the headlines which is there. The headline, one of the papers is saying that there's a scandal. 130,000 students, some of very bright students, are not given an opportunity to go to school, and others are remaining. And for me, when a question like this is placed in public, it means we need to sit down and think about education financing again. There's a problem, and to me the problem is we have taken the money from Treasury, we have given it to MPs again through the national government, the CDF fund. Mm-hmm. So it is government to government doing the same thing it would have done if the money had been transferred directly to the schools. So I think we need to rethink this model. Why should we take government money from the Treasury to the MPs and to the schools? Why can't we take the money directly to the schools? The law needs to be looked at again, and I am asking our colleagues to think again, because when I was a member of parliament, we started the CDF, and we did not have to do bursaries. Mm-hmm. We were just focusing on physical infrastructure when it came to schools. So we need to ask ourselves, what happened that now MPs will sit down and have to deal with 10,000 students, 5,000 students? All this pressure, for what? Why can't we have a new look at how we finance education? Mm-hmm. If we say it is free, let it be free for free. Let it not go through this way, that way, that way. Mm-hmm. Let the government send the money to the schools, so that at this point we'll be asking Minister for Education, why are our schools not having money? Not why is the money not coming to CDF? You know that it is convoluted. And I think it is also going to save a lot of headache for our members of parliament to focus on other important issues, rather than sitting down, going around, distributing checks and things like that.
Thank you.
So I think education financing needs to be relooked.
Well, I'll be remiss if I don't ask you also a very important question regarding the Shakahola reports, because you can see also from the publication,
yes.
1 year down the line, we haven't seen some of the families having closure, because first of all, there is no forensic evidence, the DNA, and I think you had raised issues regarding forensic investigation and the DNA, the slow pace that it's taking right now. There seemed to be that cry from the families 1 year down the line, that they are not able to bury the children. You as a former chair of the ad hoc committee, what do you have to say about this?
No,
Briefly.
we said...
I know you finalized, you've given your report,
yes,
the recommendation.
We filed our report and it was approved by the Senate. The Senate has pronounced itself and said within 60 days, prosecutions should be done, which is one step towards closure. Within 60 days, the families of those who have been saved or rescued from that whole saga should be reunited with the family. Within 60 days, the bodies that have been identified should be handed over to the families.
Within 60 days, it's almost lapsing now.
So we as a Senate have done our work, and it is the executive now to execute the decisions of the people's representatives. So if they are failing, we say that it is very bad on the side of government. What the people are saying is that you should wake up and do your work. And unfortunately, there are some who are even saying, my grandson was taken away from me. Even after they came, we reunited briefly, and they took the grandson away. So from where we are sitting, it is not making sense. Why are you keeping people who have been identified by their relatives and those who have been rescued? Why are you keeping them? There's an argument about, we are collecting evidence and whatever, but why are you keeping those children that have been identified by their relatives? So I am using this platform to appeal to the authorities that are keeping these children. Please release those who have been rescued to their loved ones. And for the bodies that have been identified, please, and those that have passed on from whatever DNA sampling you have done, release the remains so that they can be able to be buried. And if you have not been able to identify, then come out and say, we have identified 30 people and we have given this to their owners. We have not identified 570 people because there was about 600 people who are still claiming that we believe that our loved ones were lost there, and the government has not come back to us. So I think the matter to be brought to a closure. You say the ones that you know, the ones you don't know, say that we have not been able to deal with these ones, so that people can then do what, like we do in our customs. In the Pokomo custom, you will take a banana, whatever, and bury if you can't find your loved one, and that is the way you close that matter. So I urge the government to just come out clear on the statistics and a clear statement, so that we don't have people continually suffering.
So you use a banana trunk?
Yeah, we do that for us.
Okay. But I needed to ask you that we know there was indication from the government that they will continue with the exhumation.
Yes, they said they will.
Retrieval of bodies. So how come you actually came up with your report before all this exercise is done?
No, you see, the kind of recommendations you are making was not really dependent on how many people you are going to exhume. Because, for example, if we recommend that the government should invest proper money in the National Forensic Laboratory, you know, that doesn't need to wait for all the bodies to come. If we recommend prosecution to be done as soon as possible, that doesn't need to wait all the exhumation. So from where we stand, we were making recommendations on how these things must be avoided going forward, and what government needs to do, how we need to deal with extremism, with bad religion teaching, who should be qualified to do this kind of teaching, how should churches or religious bodies from different religions rein in the people, how the law, we even proposed a new law that should make government responsible and also make the religious organization accountable. You know, so those kind of recommendations, they don't need for a whole, the exhumation to take place.
Thank you.
We are saying that this thing can be stopped going forward if we carry out the following steps. And that's what Senate has done. We've done our part. We've given it to the executive. They have the machinery to carry out those recommendations, and we wait for them to do so. We are grateful that we have seen charges being placed for some of those guys.